So, what prompted you to write Soy Not Oi in the first place?
Well, Jack and I were part of a do-it-yourself punk rock project called Hippiecore for several years, and we did. Our main thing was a fanzine. We also did record distribution, and we had a record label, and we organized shows. Kind of did it all. But the thing we had a passion for was the zine. But we were also pretty passionate about being vegan, and so we cooked a lot at home. And this is back in the 80s when there were no vegetarian restaurants in Phoenix, and certainly no vegan ones, and vegan cooking was hard to come by. And then the vegan stuff that was out there was pretty, I would say, very middle class. The food was fancy and expensive, and the cookbooks assumed a lot of knowledge, and so it was definitely not made for the average teenager, 20-something who wants to be vegan. The literature wasn't there. Even the PETA literature wasn't very good, I don't think. And so we just started cooking ourselves, and basically we didn't really know how to cook. We taught ourselves, and we just started finding recipes and taking the meat out of it and the dairy out of it and messing around. And then we run into people who actually were very good cooks, most of them in the Bay Area, and like Todd from Pollution Circus and Jackie Wellman, both of them have recipes in the cookbook. They helped us out, and so we just kind of put it together. And then we decided, and then so many people, we also, because we did a lot of shows, a lot of bands were staying at our house, and we had 2 or 3 bands practicing, and so there's always punks in our house, and so we were always feeding people, and people liked what we were making. I mean, even hardcore carnivore bands like NoFX liked our food. So we just said, we should do a cookbook. There's tons of punks who are vegan, who eat like shit, and other punks who want to be vegan, and let's do it, and let's make it simple, easy to understand, easy to follow, like make it totally just as easy as put it at our own level, and then let's try to make it funny too, and because Hippiecore always had been very an anarchist zine, but with a sense of humor. So we just try to do that, and I think we just found a niche that no one had done before, really, and that's what made the zine kind of give it its stay, made it so popular right away, and then give it its staying power since.
And on the were there really other food zines at that point in time?
Oh, I'm sure there probably were, but we didn't really. I couldn't tell you any of them right now, and I didn't know of any of them really. I mean, there was lots of cookbooks, and we were finding cookbooks at the thrift store and tearing out recipes and trying new stuff and taking the meat out. But I don't know of any cookbooks. We knew some good cooks, and we had tons of connections because we really communicated with. Back then, this is of course before the internet, and we were pen pals with. Between Jack and I, hundreds of people, and from Europe and the United States, and so we had a lot of informal connections. But I don't think there's any punk. I don't think there's any. There were vegan cookbooks, but like I said, none for young 20-something people, punk rockers for sure. And,
yeah.
So we just put an ad in Max on Rock and Roll, and that was the universal form of communication for punk rock then. I don't know if it still is now. It doesn't seem to me to be so much.
Right.
But it was the universal form of communication. We put a couple of classifieds in saying, send us your recipes.
Okay.
Put together a punk cookbook, and then everyone we knew that we were pen pals with who knew anything about cooking, we asked for recipes too, and so we got a flood of recipes. And then all our friends in Arizona we asked for, so we just hit people up, and then we took all the recipes that we knew and put them all together. And then Eric Simmerer did all the artwork for them.
Yeah. And I've been in touch with him as well, thanks to you. He already emailed me back some stuff, so that's been awesome. And so, you know what, do we want to try starting the call again and see if that fixes, because I'm getting a little,
sure.
Yeah, let's, eek, sorry. Okay. Thank you. I'm as I said, I'm not the most computer literate. And so that was kind of one of my other questions, is where you got the recipes from. And so you did an ad in Maximum Rock and Roll.
Yeah, for a couple of months, I think maybe 2 months. And a classified one of those. The classified ads used to cost $2.
Okay.
So maybe 3 months worth of a $2 classified.
So, and then Pen Pals and just from
Pen Pals and friends nationwide and within Arizona.
Okay. And so then
almost all the recipes are crackers.
Okay. And so I guess one of my questions with that is, then once you got all those recipes, how did you decide which ones to use?
Well, we tried some of them, but we didn't try all of them. Okay. We basically, and so some people have said, hey, some of the recipes don't work, and that could be totally true, but I don't know. I didn't try them all. And then we tried you're back to whatever that funny camera thing is again. But,
yeah.
Let's see, from people who we really trusted, like Todd from Pollution Circus and Jackie Wellman, who are fantastic cooks, anything they sent us, we ran, because we knew from, experience that they were excellent cooks. And anything else that looked good, we put in. And then we tried to balance. And I think those are the main criteria. I mean, after a while, we're like, we got a lot of these kind of recipes or these kind of dishes. And so we try to find some balance in terms of setting it up for snack foods and breakfast foods and lunches and dinners and stuff like that. But we took most of what we got, if I remember right.
Okay. So in what years were you mostly working on the zine?
Well, let's see. Hippiecore was from 87 to 91. The cookbook was from towards the end of 90 to it came out, I think, at the beginning of 91. Okay. Very end of 90 or beginning of 91. I can't remember exactly.
Okay. And so so on the project, what were your roles with it? And what
was my role?
Yeah.
Jack and I I don't know if fanzine culture still is around in the punk scene, right? I mean, the printed word things. Yeah. I see them occasionally. Yes. So the basics of how a punk zine works.
Yeah.
We did 7 issues of Hippiecore before that, and we'd done 5 or 6 records, and some of those records were compilation records, and some were with bands. So we knew how to do zines. We knew how to put stuff together. Everything was cut and paste, and for us, as you can tell from the cookbook, we didn't really have. Well, I think we typed some stuff out on computers on those little cheap-ass Macs at our college and printed out, the recipes itself. But everything else was cut and paste. So yeah. we were co-editors, and we've been working together for 3 or 4 years. So we knew how to do it, and so we just plotted out. Okay, here's what we want the cookbook to look like. Here's various sections. We want to have certain people write. We want to have people write why I'm a vegan in there, and we want to make sure there's a sense of humor. One thing we always did is we cooked. We listened to music really loud when we cooked, so we wanted to add that in, the kind of music we listened to. But we just said so Jack and I basically did all the work of advertising and collecting and editing and typing up all the recipes and the statements of vegan-ness, and then Eric did all the artwork, and we asked Eric to give us. Occasionally we said we want you to give us a picture like this or that or something, and he would do that, and then the day of, we kind of, I don't know if you ever put together a zine. The day when you're supposed to send it to the printer, the day or two before, are always crazy days. And so as we were putting together the zine, frantically, he was just around all for 15 hours and just says on call to do art. So he'd say, Eric, give me a picture for this recipe, and he just draw it really fast. So it kind of went like that. So I think we kind of have. He did the art. We gave a little direction. We wanted to make sure that the cookbook didn't look like a bunch of white punk rockers, and so we all made some specific decisions about that. Yeah. But mostly Eric did the art, and we gave a little bit of direction, and then Jack and I did all the editing and pulling it together, and most of the writing. You see the intro and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And